1987, Peter Dunlop, son of Robert Stedwick K, brother Bob, Karen, Cindy, and Mary, husband Liz, the father, Shady, Marco, Rick, and
One nut is all he
Trinity, John Burns, son of John Sr. and Marilyn, brother Kathleen, Chris, step-friend, Lisa,
Sebastian. No, there was definitely someone down there, man. I'm done. I think we need to go back.
She's going to be reborn, aren't you, Orange?
Anyways, I'm just sitting around. It's friggin' raining out again.
I've been given permission by her to talk about her story.
BS!
Hey humans, it's Hannah. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to part 4, I think. Is this part 3 or part 4? I think it's part 4 of the Ultimate Internet Mysteries Iceberg. This is tiers 6 and 7 as we did tier 5 last time. We're doing 6 and 7 this time, so buckle in. It's going to be a long video. I don't think I have any other disclaimers other than the fact that this video is supported by a sponsor. So I am going to roll through that, but it'll be worth it because this video is going to be long and juicy and we'll get right back into it. So I can tell you right now that today's video is going to be very long, but I know that you guys love long videos. So let me give you the gift of something to do while you're watching and listening to me. And that is the best, most relaxing, beautiful graphics mobile game you've ever seen. And that is Love and Pies, who is also kindly sponsoring today's video. I play Love and Pies every single day. In fact, it's the first thing I do when I wake up every morning. And it's what I do with my morning coffee every morning. As you can see, I am on level 114. The story follows Amelia with her eccentric group of friends in Appleton as they investigate the many mysteries of the Windmill Cafe that all stemmed from her mother mysteriously going missing. So in the game, what you do is match ingredients together to make fancier items as you match them together, and then you get to sell those items to the customers for gold. You then get to use the gold to not only continue the story, but customize and upgrade your cafe to your liking. Today, I want to show you guys my bakery because I made this one pretty recently and it is so stinking cute. I like the way that I designed it. You get to choose your customizations though. There's multiple options, but isn't it so cute? So I'm excited to announce that Love and Pies wants to do something really special just for my followers. Everyone who downloads Love and Pies via my unique link, which will be right below this video in the description or using the QR code, play until day 3 in the game, and once you get to day 3 via the in-game inbox, you will get a free gift. The free gift is going to be 200 energy plus 50 free gems, which you will figure out very quickly why those things are so important in the game. Also, I want to mention that from September 9th until the 30th this month, Love and Pies is integrating a special climate awareness campaign. Love and Pies wants to inspire players to help their communities in real life. And Love and Pies is partnering with real climate groups and climate activists in order to educate the audience of Love and Pies on how they can better do that. There's going to be a lot of super exciting events and extras in the game to help out with this initiative, so now is the best time to download. Thank you so much to Love and Pies for being a continued sponsor of this channel. I'd be playing the game anyway, but I am more than happy to promote something that I genuinely play and love to my audience. So let's get back into today's video so you can get back to playing Love and Pies. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about this one because there are quite a few in here that not only I have never heard of, but there was a couple that did genuinely creep me out. So I'm really excited to deep dive this with you guys. I didn't put a blanket disclaimer at the beginning because if there's anything that needs to be said, I'll say it before the specific topic so you can skip to the next one. For example, I think pretty much just warnings for S-word discussions in some of these. So if it involves that, I'll let you know beforehand so you can skip to the next topic if you don't want to listen to that topic and you want to move on to the next one, because as always, there'll be timestamps down below for every single topic in this video so you can skip around as you please and as you see fit. Okay, let's start. The first one on tier 6 is Loren Scott's final post. Loren Scott was a fashion model. She was a stylist and a fashion designer. She is also known as being the one and only Mick Jagger's partner from 2001 until 2014. which sadly was up until she passed. By the way, starting off strong, warning for discussions of S-word in this topic, so move on to the next one already if you don't want to hear about that. In 2014, Loren was found by her assistant in her Manhattan apartment, and she was no longer alive. Her cause of death, as we said, was S-word. I apologize for the censoring. It's for YouTube. She was only 49 years old. The reason this is an internet mystery is because her last post went up on Facebook a few hours after she passed away. That's not mysterious. Posts can be scheduled to go out at certain times on almost every platform. So she had obviously, either her or her assistant had scheduled a post to go out at a certain time, but it was after she had passed away. What was eerie and mysterious about this was the picture that she posted. Now, again, the picture's not graphic. It's not scary at all. But I also, for YouTube's sake, I swear not every topic is this censored, but this is a particularly very touchy subject with YouTube. For YouTube's sake, I cannot say how somebody went about this either. Methods are a big touchy subject for understandable reasons. But as you can see by this picture, you can probably figure it out on your own. Whatever you're thinking it is what it was. And so it really freaked people out that she posted this photo a few hours after she passed away in this manner. To this day, we don't know if this was intentional by Loren. We don't know if she did this on purpose as a weird, morbid send-off, or if it was just a coincidence and she wasn't thinking straight. I don't know, of course, but I can see somebody in the throes of that severe depression. Also, I could see this just being a coincidence and that she wasn't connecting dots. I mean, when you're that deep into depression, your brain is not working normally, but who knows? The next topic on tier 6 is Heaven's Gate website, and another trigger warning. I forgot to say that the first two have the same trigger warning as we just had, so also move on to the next one. I think that's pretty self-explanatory when we talk about Heaven's Gate, but you know, again, if you're not in the right mindset, move on to the next one. I assume most of you guys know what Heaven's Gate was. It was a cult. It was a very notorious religious cult that was more well known than a lot of other cults, specifically because, similar to Jonestown, they carried out a mass S-word amongst the group. This group, over a few days, was 39 members who carried this out. Thankfully, though, unlike Jonestown, none of them were children, at least. This is the one where, in order to carry this out, they all wore matching black outfits and the brand new Nike shoes. They're really well known for that in particular. So the reason that the website is a mystery is because if you've never visited the website, oh my gosh, if you're in the right headspace and you want a rabbit hole, go to the Heaven's Gate website. It is absolutely wild. It is very 90s looking, and it honestly looks very much exactly what you would think a religious cult's website would look like, but it has links to their belief systems and oh my gosh, it's absolutely insane. So if you are interested in that, highly recommend going to explore that website on your own. Again, if you're in a good headspace. If you're not, it might not be so good. But the whole point is that the tragedy happened in 1997. And I just told you, if you want to go visit the Heaven's Gate website to see it for yourself. That's the mystery. The website is still up. It has been 28 years since that group passed away, and the website is still up. Now, to keep a website like that up, you need somebody maintaining it. It hasn't been updated that we know of, but it needs to be maintained in terms of somebody paying for the domain and keeping it up and, available to everybody. It's believed by many, and I think it's a safe bet to say, that former members, or maybe one former member, probably several former members, were tasked with the job of keeping the website up, and they were not part of this group that passed away, which is so bizarre to think about, that they were like, yeah, well, you need to stay here on Earth because we need this website, because we need this message to go out. So overall, just very bizarre and very fascinating cult. Their belief system was wild. As many of you know, they didn't believe that they were dying at all. That's not where they thought they were going. Just like, again, many cults, I feel like, go that way, where they convince the members that they're not dying, they're going to another planet or wherever they think they're going. I just find that so fascinating, especially I find cult mentality fascinating of like how a normal people think that they would never join something like that. But you don't know. Nobody's immune to that. Anybody could get caught up in a cult. I mean, look at MLMs. A lot of people don't realize they're in cults, and in my opinion, MLMs are commercial cults. Anyway, I digress. The next one on tier 6 is Alex from Tennessee. Alex from Tennessee was a 4chan thread that appeared in April of 2013. Someone on 4chan anonymously posted coordinates to a specific place and then claimed that if somebody went to these coordinates, they would find a prize. All they said was that the prize was under plastic. A user known only as Alex from Tennessee volunteered to go to these coordinates, and sure enough, he went. As Alex traveled to the location and then got to the location, he was posting constant updates on 4chan, including text updates, but also picture updates. The plastic bag that OP had originally posted a picture of saying that the prize was in there was supposedly there, and when Alex went to go look in the bag, he claimed on 4chan that inside the bag was a mummified pelvis and a folded up paper plate. I don't know if the mummified pelvis was supposed to be human, but I think that's implied. According to Alex, the plate had a message written on it once you unfolded it. It apparently said, "Plate's a date, a very important date. You shouldn't have come. I lied." Alex is like kind of in this warehouse like thing or building kind of in the ass crack middle of nowhere. And he claims at this point on 4chan that he heard a car outside very close to him driving very slowly on gravel. The last update that he posted on 4chan was, quote, "I think it's time for my date." And then after that, Alex seemingly disappeared and has not been heard from since. Now, technically this is unsolved, but I think it's pretty safe to say that this was probably a hoax. Alex was posting comments and the text posts and the photos of supposedly what he was seeing in real time to 4chan very quickly, which if you were in that sketchy of a situation, most people probably wouldn't be posting that as it happens. They'd be taking pictures of what they found, got the hell out of Dodge, and then posted them online later. And he seemed to be doing this in real time. So that kind of made a lot of people suspicious that this was made up. But then seeing a note like that on a paper plate when it was supposed to be a prize, and a very threatening note like that, most people would have, again, just ran for their lives at that point. They're in a sketchy place, a stranger posted coordinates, and you blindly went not knowing what to expect. You hear a car, you see a message like that, and you're just like, "I think it's time for my date." That's what you write on 4chan. Yeah, it's very likely that Alex was OP and had different accounts, and he was the one that originally posted the coordinates and then volunteered to go. For all we know, he was sitting at his laptop or on his phone posting these from the comfort of his very own home. People did look for, because we knew where the coordinates were, so we did look for, I wasn't involved in this mystery whatsoever, but sleuths at the time that were involved did look for an Alex in that area who went missing or was murdered or kidnapped or anything during 2013, and nobody could find anything. Probably was a fake name anyway, but take that for what you will. The Butcher 2001 is next. This is another lost media category mystery. However, we're not sure if this one ever existed or not. A Reddit user just called DeadUser00 posted on r/tipofmytongue. He said supposedly in Nickelodeon in 2001, there was a short film released that was believed to have been titled The Butcher or something to that effect. All they could remember about the film was that it was a short film back when Nickelodeon did sometimes air short films in between programs, and that there was puppets in the film, but it was really creepy because the puppets were made out of what looked like real animal bones. After a lot of searching and help from the internet, OP finally found what he believes was the movie. He or she, I don't actually know this person's gender, but they found what they thought was, and it was actually not The Butcher from 2001, but the movie was actually called Butcher's Hook from 1996. When somebody linked that to OP, they watched it and it did trigger a memory in them and remembered that it also might have been Cartoon Network that it was aired on and not in fact Nickelodeon, which to me would make more sense. However, I couldn't find any updates after this, so this one is more or less solved? Question mark? I think OP is satisfied with the fact that it was probably Butcher's Hook, not the Butcher. Kisaragi Station is next. I apologize for my Japanese pronunciation. This is an urban legend that stems from the Japanese forum / message board website called 2channel. I believe that it sounds similar to 4chan to me. I think they're similar concepts, except this one is in Japan. A woman on 2channel posted in 2004 about how she was on her regular train to work as she was posting, but usually it only takes a few minutes to get to her stop to go to work, and the train wasn't stopping. This train had been going for a while and had never made a stop. Users on 2channel started chiming in to help her out and see if they could be a resource for her. So this is one of those mystery urban legends that is happening in real time. After an hour on the train with no stops, the train finally stopped, and this woman, who we only know as Hasumi, tells everyone on the forum that it stopped at a place called Kisaragi Station. Hasumi decides to get off because it was the first stop that the train made in a long time, and she didn't know if she was ever going to get anywhere if she stayed on the train. Plus, when she was on the train, things were weird. All the other passengers on the train were sleeping very soundly. She tried to go up to the conductor, but it was all blocked off. She couldn't see the conductor and couldn't get a response from him. But everybody on 2channel who is reading her and helping her out with this excursion is telling her that they're trying to look up Kisaragi Station online and there's no trace of it anywhere, that this train station doesn't seem to exist. Hasumi goes on to tell everybody on the forum that this station also doesn't seem to have any staff members and that it's very, very strange. She tries to call a cab. She couldn't do that. She tried to call her parents to see if they could pick her up, but her parents couldn't pick her up because this station didn't exist on a map or online or anywhere. So finally, she just starts walking along the tracks to see if she gets somewhere eventually to get help. Some other small details in the story happens, but eventually she does come across a man after she exits a tunnel. This man is super nice, super friendly, and offers her a ride home, which she accepts, probably against her better judgment, but I think feeling like she didn't really have a choice. There was nowhere else to go, and she could not figure out how to get out of this weird time loop non-existent place she was in. But as they're walking, the man suddenly gets quiet, and he was super friendly at first, but then suddenly gets quiet, stops talking, and even starts speaking gibberish at one point, so Hasumi gets scared. She has a very bad feeling about this man now, of course, and so her last post on 2channel in this thread was how her phone was dying, so she couldn't keep posting, and she was going to try to make a run for it. She was going to try to get away from this man and see how she could get home another way. She was never heard from again. Obviously, as I said, this is an urban legend. This is a fictional story that never happened. We know that because this station, Kisaragi, I can't say it, it's so hard. Kisaragi Station never existed, and it doesn't exist. If you go on to Google Maps, it's not like there's a train station called this. So we know that this was a fictional story / urban legend, and the person was probably just posting random, trolls from her phone. However, I do think it's an interesting concept. What if there's a parallel universe and she accidentally went to the parallel universe? Accidentally kind of played the elevator game, except on a train. Beeblefoxx is next. This one is so upsetting. I don't know how else to describe it. I didn't like this one at all. This one creeped me out. So Beeblefoxx was a guy on YouTube who posted some of the weirdest videos of all time. The most well-known was a video called A Furry Rebirthing. In this video, I can only show you a couple parts of it, but he cuts off a life-size doll's legs. He then proceeds to cut off her head, and then he puts the head on a stuffed animal's body. We believe this stuffed animal is a cat. His voice throughout the video is very creepy, and he also censors his face.
But I prefer to call it the Indian spirit community.
It seems like a troll, right? That's what I would think. If I had just seen this video, I would just think it was some weirdo trying to get attention on YouTube by making an edgy, creepy video. But while that is often the case for many creeps online, not in this case. This case had merit to it, and this case we have reason to believe this was a real man who was actually legitimately creepy. I don't know what else he's done, but I'm getting ahead of myself. In some of his other videos on his YouTube channel, people would notice that he had pictures of a young woman on his wall, and it was like all over his wall. And we would later learn that this young woman was actually a child. She was only 16 years old, and he had pictures of her all over his wall, like he was stalking her. Now, before he posted a furry rebirthing with this life-size doll, he has a video of him unboxing this same doll, and it's super creepy because several times in the video he's talking about how he's unboxing his new daughter. He keeps referring to the doll as his daughter, and then he also calls her Orange a couple times, like orange, like the color. He calls her daughter, but he does creepy, but it's creepy. It's obviously stuff that NSFW stuff. He's like talking about, we're gonna have so much fun together, and it's creepy, and it gets creepier when you find out that Orange is that child, the picture of the child that was all over his wall. Like I said, this girl was allegedly 16 at the time of him making these videos. However, many people still believed that this was just a troll. For example, Scare Theater made a video about this at the time that I watched, and no hate to Scare Theater whatsoever. I don't think he knew. It was a long time ago. Like, I don't think we had enough information, and the victim hadn't come out at that point. So you don't know what you don't know, right? Because his conclusion in the video was that, like, because of the way she had interacted with people online regarding the situation and regarding him referencing her in his videos, like, it kind of seemed like she was in on it. She seemed like she was joking around with people, when in the end, allegedly, according to her, she was a grooming victim. And it may have seemed like she was consenting to this, but she wasn't, because A, she was a child, and B, it was under duress and or alleged grooming. So she goes by the Orange Citrus, and 3 years ago, so after all that, just 3 years ago, the Citrus Orange, this girl that was plastered all over this creep's wall in his videos that he displayed online for everyone to see at one point, she came forward and said, no, this guy's a creep. Alleging, she didn't talk too much about the what she was alleging personally for her life, but she does have some of that on her channel about how creepy he is and how she doesn't like him. But she talks in the video reading out another victim of his and her account and what she alleges, and just like overall, like, she clearly knows this guy or knows of him, and he's clearly not a good guy. I mean, nobody's a good guy if they are using underage girls as their weird fantasies anyway, but it's just that she confirmed later that no, she did not consent to any of that. She was probably playing along at the time because she was brainwashed by him, and she was too young to realize that this was, not a good situation. And he was in his late 20s at the time. Now, again, just to cover myself legally, I do have to specify that all of that is alleged. I have no proof that this guy, Beeblefoxx, has actually done any of these things. However, we do have proof that there was pictures of her on his wall when she was 16. So for legal purposes, this is alleged, but in my personal opinion, I do believe her. And his original videos, of course, have been deleted. I really wish that there was follow-up on this. I would be very interested to know if he ever has had other legal trouble. I can't imagine that Orange is his only victim. Again, allegedly, if this is true. Bobby Joe Blythe is next. Boy, oh boy. Get ready for this one, you guys. This is a video that resurfaced in 2009, but was originally allegedly taken in December of 1984. And I say get ready for this one, not because it's fun, but because it's really dark. Unfortunately, I can't even show you the video because it's pretty graphic. You can find it easily. It's even on YouTube. And I know people are like, why can't you post it in your video if other news channels and stuff post it in their video with no problem? And that's because YouTube picks and chooses who they age restrict and demonetize. And I'm not kidding. I'm not being dramatic. Like, literally, I could post something and get age restricted, and then it can exist elsewhere on YouTube. Look at August the Duck. If you need a good example of this and how I'm not lying, August the Duck's account, he's been dealing with that for the last few months, where YouTube keeps age restricting his videos, even though the only content he's shown in his videos are videos unrestricted on YouTube elsewhere. Like, they literally only restrict him. So I'm not kidding, that does happen. So that's why I'm not risking it and showing you the video. I'll show you some stills from it. But it is kind of graphic, even though it's pretty grainy. But there is a video of a guy in a black belt, and he's kicking and beating up a man who, for a lot of the video, is on the floor. And little do you know from watching this video, this man is mentally disabled. The man is then so badly beaten up that he's either dead or unconscious when he is dragged out of the room. The rumor is that he was dumped in the dumpster out back, but that is unconfirmed. This black belt in karate was instructed to beat up this man by the dojo leader named Joe Blythe. Some sources do claim that the man survived as he was interviewed after the beating happened, but Joe Blythe was a former Marine, and it is rumored that he had connections to the police, so many people believe that the man did in fact die and that he had it covered up. Not only did he have connections to the police, and this of course does not make you a killer, but in other contexts, Joe Blythe, in my opinion, seems kind of like just a douche. He was either unhoused or not well off. He was a man of color, mentally disabled, and he would go into like Pizza Hut and steal pizza off of people's plates or try to steal money out of women's purses, which of course, like, obviously don't do that. But also, this man obviously needed help and seemed desperate. He wasn't physically hurting anybody. He was desperate and didn't know what to do and didn't have the resources and the help that we needed. And I'm sorry if an unhoused person just stole my pizza off my plate. In what universe? I don't know. At least for me, I'd be like, you could have it. That blows my mind. I can just go buy another piece of pizza. I know not everybody can, but obviously, if you have a plate full of pizza, you're better off than the unhoused person. And I just cannot imagine getting mad at somebody for being so desperate. They're going up to people and stealing food off their plates. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, but the fact that he tried to justify it like that when this man was literally mentally disabled is so utterly sick to me. That part, obviously, I don't think is a hot take. I think most people can agree that beating up a mentally disabled person is just wrong. This man was defenseless. He wasn't fighting back in the video. He just takes it. Yeah. So we don't know what happened to this man. And like I said, the one news article I can find on it was weird. Like at the end, it was like, oh no, the man was fine. He was interviewed afterwards. And the news clip that I saw of it, like same thing. Like they're trying to figure out if the footage was genuine or not. Like kept saying that if the footage is genuine, and it's pretty much confirmed that this footage was genuine. We know who was in the video. So Joe Blythe, in my opinion, is a POS. That's it. That's all you need to know about that one. Okay, Indian Lake Project is next. The Indian Lake Project was a conspiracy / story of a conspiracy that arose online via a blog in 2005. Remember when blogs were more of a thing? The first post explains that in 1997, the blogger's uncle was hiking around Indian Lake in New York when he stumbled on what he thought was a tree root, but quickly figured out that it was actually a metal box kind of dug into the ground. It took him a while because he had to dig it out of the ground. It was pretty stuck in there. But inside of this supposed metal box was 21 damaged photos, 3 8mm home movie reels, and some other documents. So this uncle found this box, and the 21 photos, a lot of the photos contained children, which made him very nervous, made him think that he had stumbled upon something dumped by perhaps a PDF file. But with the documents, the reels, and the other evidence that he gathered, he figured out that it in fact was not the case, but rather these children were victims to a U.S. experimentation government project called the Indian Lake Project. Basically, these kids were used as subjects in MK Ultra type stuff, is what was alleged. After posting evidence of the box and everything, he soon said on the blog that he was going to stop posting the evidence because strange things were starting to happen to him. In particular, he kept getting calls when he answered, nobody was on the other line, and he was scared that the US government was coming after him. It's pretty clear that this was just an ARG/art project that somebody made. There's a couple reasons to believe that. First of all, there's no evidence that this was ever a thing, but also there's like this found footage type video that goes along with this whole thing of people allegedly going to Indian Lake and investigating this and interviewing random people, and the acting in it is really, really bad.
How you doing today? Can I help you find something?
Oh, good. Actually, I'm making a video. We're trying to find out information about the Indian Lake Project.
The Indian Lake Project?
Yeah, do you know anything about that, sir?
We don't really talk about that around here.
Oh, do you know what happened? Trace, you gotta go. Oh my gosh, run! Keep going.
Master, are you okay?
But even if it wasn't bad, the pictures of the children also look very much like something you'd get in a, like, you know, like the murder mystery party boxes that you get for your birthday party and stuff. Like, you know, those. It kind of looks like the photo evidence that would come in those boxes. It looks like regular pictures of children that somebody put a ton of filters on to make it look old and from a different time. So, interesting one, but pretty sure this was just an ARG. Elena Cohen is next. This one's really sad. Elena was a singer and musician who started posting in the 2000s and 2010s on YouTube. She posted covers of songs as well as original songs. She was/is incredibly talented. She's a beautiful voice. But throughout her days on YouTube, she would disappear for long chunks of time. She would just go a long time without posting. Sometimes she would randomly private a bunch of her videos and then only to bring them back a while later, but then sometimes they would get privated permanently. Concerned fans figured out that Elena actually had an online stalker. The username of this online stalker goes by ePlanet, or eThunder is what he was on various things. This dude, I mean, this is obviously a TLDR, but this dude was creepy as fuck. He followed her everywhere, no matter where she moved or she tried to get away from him. He found where she was and followed her and harassed her. He claimed that he was responsible for her blowing up on YouTube, and he was responsible for this newfound small yet significant fame that she had, and that she therefore owed him her time and also her business because he did this, even though there's no proof that he ever helped her with her career. Now, to be fair, this man clearly had very severe mental health issues. For example, he once filed a $100 million lawsuit to the singer Lorde. I believe also to Taylor Swift and Katy Perry. If not, he definitely would like talk about how their songs were written about him, but he did specifically file an actual lawsuit that's still online against the artist Lorde, claiming that, I think like on there it said it was for racketeering, and claiming that she had been writing songs about him like in secret. It was obviously thrown out. $100 million lawsuit. It was thrown out. The judge threw it out because these artists don't know who he is. They have no idea what he's talking about. So clearly that's a delusion, right? Those are delusions. When people like that with mental illness are paranoid like that and really, really have this strong belief that is not true. So to be fair, he might have been stalking, not that it makes it okay at all, don't get me wrong, but just that he might have been stalking Elena because he had this delusion that they knew each other and were in love. We believe at one point Elena successfully got a restraining order against him. We also know that he went to prison for a time because she was proving that he was stalking her, but it seemed like she just could not comfortably come back to to the internet or she just couldn't get away from him, because finally in 2014 she stopped posting altogether. She has not posted since. We have reason to believe that she didn't pass away or anything like that, because she has allegedly like unprivated some videos and then privated them again on her channel in the last couple years without actually saying anything or posting or anything like that, just unprivating some videos. But it's just really sad because we think she like moved possibly to Africa, but had to move somewhere to get away from this guy, and if she kept posting, he would just keep finding her. So she had to just stop posting altogether to like get a chance of getting away from this creep. So I really hope she's doing okay. I hope she's happy and healthy somewhere. It's so sad that you'd like, where would she be right now? Like, YouTube has made pretty good stars before. Think of where she would be right now if she hadn't been like essentially chased off the platform by somebody like making her feel unsafe, you know. Just think where her career would be at this point. And I just find that so sad that one super creepy stalker like just ruins it for not only her but all the people that really enjoyed and resonated with her music. And this guy so clearly needs a lot of mental health support that he's clearly not getting. Filthy Frank's Kenya song is next. I had never heard of Filthy Frank before, even though his most popular video on YouTube has 93 million views. If you don't know who Filthy Frank is, he also goes by Joji is the other name that I think he goes by more recently. Like, I don't think he posts on the Filthy Frank channel anymore, but does post as, you know, songs and stuff as Joji. But he was a YouTuber and made songs. He's more known for his like satire songs. Apparently his Pink Man songs specifically. He's very anti-PC, you know, gets age restricted a lot for using derogatory terms and stuff like that. Anyway, in 2013, he posted a video where there was like 2 seconds of a song that sounded kind of like a reggae song in the background randomly in one of his videos. And for some reason, because the song wasn't identified and Filthy Frank couldn't say where the song was from, everybody turned this into an internet mystery. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's just me, but like lost songs for some reason are so boring to me. Like, I don't care. I don't care. All the lost songs on this list, I've just been like, oh my god, I'm just typing it up really quick because I'm like, I just does not interest me whatsoever. So excuse my lackluster explanation of this. But a bunch of people, this actually was unsolved when this Iceberg was made, but it was recently solved like in the last year. The song is actually from Uganda. I'm probably gonna butcher the name of the song, but it's called Katonda Alinawe, or it's also known as the Kenya Dance. The artist is David Sun JC. Okay, next on tier 6 is Purity Knight. Purity Knight was a true crime victim. It was said that she was a 20-year-old woman who had a stalker, and right after, like soon after this stalker kind of thing was realized and discovered, she went missing, and then she was found dead, and it seemed like she had been buried alive, and that's how she died. The killer even left notes and clues for the police. Corey Taylor, who if you don't know is the lead singer of the very famous band Slipknot, came across Purity Knight's story and he got so fascinated with it that he changed a lot of the lyrics in his song Despise to match the story of Purity, like to be inspired by Purity's story. And then he also changed the song name to be Purity. Now, if you consume a lot of true crime and you're wondering why you've never heard of this, even though it sounds like such a peculiar case that a lot of people and a lot of podcasts would have talked about by now, that's because it never happened. Purity Knight is not a real person. This case is completely fictional and was just written up by somebody and completely made up. The website where all the case info is from, I'm going to say this wrong, Yoknapatawpha County, which is a county in Mississippi, but that county doesn't exist. It's a fictional county, and this is a completely fictional case. So that one is technically solved because it never happened. Okay, Messytails is next, and a lot of you might remember this because I talked about it briefly in the new Do Not Research Iceberg, and boy, I went to go back to watch me talk about in that Iceberg. And sometimes I get really embarrassed watching my own videos. Holy crap. Why did you guys watch me back then? My videos were so bad. Anyway, Messytails is a Twitter account, and it is a furry character, but it's like a cartoon version of a furry. And he's got like brown stains on his nose and stuff. And he is called Messytails, but also goes by the brown nose pup. And it's basically a persona of somebody with a scat fetish. The Twitter page would tweet a lot about this fetish, but like specifics and like what he did, which a lot of it involved consuming it. And then there was a rumor that went around that said that he died from the hobby, but it wasn't like the character died, like the person behind the account really had this fetish and actually passed away from doing this. That was the rumor. We did find out later through Wang's video that this was not true, that was just a troll. Wang contacted this person and confirmed that it was a troll. And then there was another instance where the account owner who claimed to be the person behind Messytails came forward and said that they did not actually pass away, but they in fact just went to therapy for this, because it was obviously very unhealthy and impacting their health, and just got help to stop doing it. So that's why the page stopped posting in 2018. However, we have no confirmation that that person who came forward claiming to be Messytails was actually Messytails. Like, it could also just be a troll. So either way, they stopped posting in 2018. We don't exactly know what happened to the person behind the account. One potato, two potato snuff film. This one sounds a lot scarier than it ends up being, but it is weird. This was a song that was originally by an anonymous punk artist from Austria who wears a mask or conceals his face throughout the music video for the song One Potato, Two Potato. In the music video for the song, it appears that he is unaliving all the other people that are in the video with him, and then at the very end of the video, it ends with him doing the same to himself. The video was originally supposedly from 1981, but then was lost for decades until a random copy of it went up for sale on eBay in 2008. It's definitely, I would say, not safe for work, but the video's not graphic or bloody or anything like that. It may be disturbing to some people, I'll say, but I think for the vast majority, it's not too bad. However, take that with a grain of salt because I'm pretty desensitized, but the artist also is no longer anonymous. The artist turned out to be somebody by the name of Albert Dirt, which I'm sure is a pseudonym, but nonetheless, it's an ID of some sort. Yeah, Beebiss 1 is next. This was an alleged video game. This video game was first mentioned in 1989 in a magazine. The magazine was called Video Games and Computer Entertainment. They always had a section in the magazine where you could do a mail-in video game thing, which again, so 80s, 90s. There was this company called Play It Again where you could use this company to put in a mail-in order for a video game. And I believe they also took like exchanges too. Like you could send in your video game for in exchange for a different one and, you know, stuff like that. It reminds me of early Netflix for video games is kind of what it sounds like to me. But there was a video game called Yeah Beebiss 1 listed in the Play It Again, the pages where they list all these games that you could mail in to get. And Yeah Beebiss 1 was listed not only 1 month, but then like 2, 3, like several months after that in subsequent magazine issues. But the problem was, to everybody's knowledge, Yeah Beebiss, the game, did not exist. Nobody knew what this game even was. A lot of people thought maybe it was just a placeholder, or perhaps it was a game from another country or language that was translated weirdly into English. But a lot of people also speculated that it was a copyright trap, so they would post random nonsensical names in their lists that weren't actually real games, and they would do that so that if other companies similar to them were copying their list of games, they would be able to catch them and have proof that it was a copied list very easily. A Lost Media wiki user actually tracked down one of the creators of the company Play play it again and found him on LinkedIn and asked him to see if he would reply and let them know what it was. So they asked him about this game, and he actually did reply, and he confirmed the theory that it was a copyright trap. So that was, he didn't know for sure because he wasn't the one that specifically put that game in the list, but it is very likely that, because he said the person that produced the list would often put in random fake games in order to make sure that other companies were not copying their lists. Okay, that was tier 6. Let's move on to tier 7. The first one in tier 7 is CSImadmax. CSImadmax was/is an artist that used to post primarily on DeviantArt and Tumblr, if you remember Tumblr. She was pretty beloved in some of the more niche places on the internet, and especially most prominent in the brony fandom, you know, the My Little Pony people. In August of 2014, she posted a cryptid message that said, "So I've been away from the comic and making cool stuff due to no longer having access to a computer to draw stuff and my involuntarily newly found nomad-like style of life. Things are going certainly bad and I don't know if I could be able to draw for some time. So yeah, I'm really sorry for the people asking me to commission things, but I'm certainly out of the game from now on. Sorry. I'll make another journal if I find a way to, well, you know, to do stuff." The involuntary nomad-like style of life part of her post made a lot of people believe that she became homeless against her will. Most people become homeless against their will, I would imagine. I know there are voluntary homeless people out there, but I think for the most part, most people do not want to be homeless. Some speculated that she was actually on the run. Others thought that maybe she was affected by the earthquake in Costa Rica and that she lived in that area. Others say that she lived in Ukraine and so she was displaced because of the conflict there. Like all internet mysteries, of course, there was rumors that she had passed away. Sadly, we don't know. That's all we got was that mysterious entry on DeviantArt that she left, and after that nobody heard from her since. We have no proof that anything really, really bad happened to her. I mean, obviously being displaced from your home is very, very difficult and tragic, but like we have no proof that she actually passed away or anything like that. So maybe she just like was homeless for a while and it was really hard, but she got life together. She was able to get, you know, a job and everything. And then when she got back to stabilization, maybe she just didn't want to come back to the internet. Maybe she was just done with it, which, like, fair enough. We don't know. Lost Baby at Gucci Store is next. This one's weird and there's not a lot of information on it. I would be really curious to know if anybody has other insights or even other theories. This was an image that somebody found on Google Street View, an image of literally what the title sounds like, a baby outside of a Gucci store, like on the sidewalk, except the baby's alone. There is nobody around, no parents, no adults, nobody walking by. This baby just abandoned on the side of the road. It's all I could find. We don't know what country this was in. We don't know the circumstances around it. I couldn't find anything. Nobody identified the baby to tell if he or she was okay. I guess that's why this is a mystery, is that there's so little information on it. Now, I can only hope that the parents were either very close by off camera. I kind of doubt that's the case, but the other thing that I also wonder is if this was photoshopped, because there's not that much information on it out there. It wasn't you'd think it'd be a news story or something like that, or at least more of a mainstream news story if it was true. So I kind of wonder if somebody just like got this street view of Gucci and there was a baby that happened to be in the photo. They could have photoshopped the baby in for all we know, but maybe they just photoshopped the parents and all the other people out so it looked like the baby was alone. Again, I don't know why the baby would be like on the dirty sidewalk, but who knows, because we don't know what country this was in. Comtest is next. Comtest was for a while rumored to be the very, 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 very first YouTube channel and YouTube video. It was rumored to be a test channel, another kind of like WebDriver torso, where it was a test channel for YouTube to see how videos were being uploaded before they like launched the platform though. So it would have been like the first video. However, this is not true. Many of us know, and it has been confirmed, that Me at the Zoo was the very first YouTube video.
They have really, really, really long.
This video was posted on April 23rd, 2005 by Jawed Karim. I'm so sorry if I'm saying his name wrong, but he was one of the co-founders of YouTube. So the person that started this rumor was a YouTuber named TechItRealm, who was the one who fabricated the evidence claiming that Me at the Zoo was not the first YouTube video and trying to show the actual first YouTube video. So this YouTuber even came out and admitted that it was a hoax himself, that he made that up. Me at the Zoo is the first YouTube video. Slews also confirmed with one of the actual founders of YouTube. I'm not sure if it was Jawed. Am I saying his name right? What the hell? Why can't I say that? Or one of the other co-founders of YouTube, but either way, this is pretty confirmed to be 1000% false. Dracula 1920 is next. Here's a good lost media for you. This is another one of those where everybody says this existed and a lot of people have memories of seeing this, or at least parts of this film, but nobody could prove that it ever existed or that it was ever a thing. So it was rumored that there was actually a 1920 Russian film based on the 1897 novel Dracula. That would have been decades before the 1992 American version of Dracula came out. So it would have been, as far as we know, like the first adaptation of the Dracula book. Now, because so many people remembered it and because this mystery became so popular, a lot of fans of this lore actually made fake clips allegedly from this movie, but that confuses a lot of people because even though they're often labeled as fan made and fake videos like of what the movie could have looked like, a lot of people think they're real, so they get confused and think that therefore the movie was real. But the truth is that there is no proof that this film actually did exist. That doesn't mean it didn't. It could have really just been lost. It's not only from Russia, but from over 100 years ago. If it did exist, it could really, really, truly just be lost. Now, there was a 1923 Hungarian film that was called Dracula's Death, though. That movie is confirmed to be real. And so a lot of people believe that the people who remember the Russian 1920 Dracula are getting it confused with the 1923 Hungarian Dracula's Death. But the Hungarian film, even though there seems to be more proof that at least that film really did exist, we can't find that full film either. Unlike lost songs, for some reason, I find really boring, but lost films and other lost media I find very fascinating. GodlyRecon is next. GodlyRecon was a YouTube channel that the creator of the channel, who was a woman who went by the name Carolyn, and started off like a regular YouTube channel, her just posting what we now know of as vlogs, but just stuff about her personal life and random videos. But as the videos went on, she started to tell her audience that it seems like she has a stalker. In a later video, she even claimed that her supposed stalker sent her a picture of her own home. Then her last video ever posted was labeled just goodbye, and it was a 19-second video of blood-curdling, terrifying, very convincing screams of a woman. I'm not going to play it for you because you can find it easily, and it's not that I always include stuff when I can, but I don't want to hear it again. So I just assume people with headphones on and stuff, it's really, I mean, think of a blood-curdling scream, that's all it is. This one is more or less solved. I did watch a Scare Theater video about this one. He did a really good deep dive into it and found that he couldn't verify that any of this was real. There was no related Google searches to anybody named Carolyn or to this person who ever went missing or got abducted or had a stalker or anything like that. And also he could not confirm that the archives that were shown as proof were real, and they also could have been fabricated. The dates could have been fabricated. Now, for me, I immediately thought that this was a hoax, because if you were kidnapped and unalived by a stalker you've been talking about, as the last video on the channel of just screaming implies, it would not have been posted to YouTube. Many people believe that the woman who calls herself Caroline in the videos is actually an actor named Jackie Allen. This was confirmed by a Redditor who found Jackie Allen's Twitter and Instagram accounts, and admittedly, I agree, the profile picture looks a lot like the woman in the videos, like Caroline. So going back to Scare Theater, in his video, the way that he originally heard about this was because another creator on YouTube called Nation Squid posted like a top 10 creepy internet videos, you know, one of those types of videos, and Carolyn's video was in that top 10 video. So Scare Theater was asking Nation Squid if he if this was part of an ARG, because Nation Squid apparently was running an ARG at the time. So Scare Theater was like, is this just a hoax? Is this just part of the ARG? Nation Squid denied this and said that he just got the clip and came across the clip, and so he added it in the video and that he had nothing to do with it, but couldn't provide Scare Theater with any sources or any resources of how he found the clip or who sent him the clip. So that really does not add any credibility to Nation Squid's story, and it is assumed that Nation Squid was probably, in my opinion, we don't know for sure, but behind this or contributed to these videos being made. Either way, it was likely either a hoax or part of an ARG. The channel was also deleted from YouTube. Ordan's Forest is next. This one's really fascinating. Ordan's Forest was a 12-minute long short film that was lost for a very long time, but has since been found. This was a short film from 2005 about a young boy who had some very scary recurring nightmares. Not only was this one solved, but this one was real, not a hoax, not a false memory or a Mandela effect of Redditors. A Redditor who went by SoTired95 before they ended up deleting their account got really interested in this mystery and tracked down Richard Harris. Richard Harris was one of the organizers and one of the founders of the film festival where this 12-minute film originally debuted. Richard Harris told this Redditor, SoTired95, that he did actually remember the film. He had a copy of it because he had a copy of all the films that debuted at the festival, and that he would be willing to give it to him, and gave him permission to post it online to solve this mystery. It seemed kind of unlikely. It was a little nip and tuck there because he was like in Australia and was traveling for like 6 more weeks and was like, I'll get it to you when I get back, which seems really, that seems like he's blowing you off, right? But no, sure enough, Richard Harris did actually give this user a copy of this video, and he posted it on YouTube for all of our viewing pleasure. So even though I showed a couple short clips in here, please go watch the full film if you're interested in it. It's on SoTired95's YouTube account. The 5-hour video. Now here's the one in that there's usually one in every video or one in every tier that I cannot find information on, and this is that one. So nothing comes up when you look this up. The only thing that comes up is like 5-hour energy, of course. The only place that I could find anything related to this was on the original Reddit thread where the iceberg I'm going off of was originally posted. Somebody in the comments asked OP what the heck that mystery was. According to OP, the 5-hour video was apparently a video that showed definitive proof of aliens, like actual real proof of aliens, but all we have is some screenshots from the film, so it was never actually proven to truly exist. But that's confusing for me because when you Google this or any combination of the keywords, nothing comes up. Certainly no alien screenshots. So I have no idea, as always, if anybody has the screenshots that were referred to, or if anybody has any information about this supposed 5-hour video that was that supposedly showed definitive proof of aliens, please email it to me. I am going to at the end, so I have one more tier after this, the deepest tier, and I think at the end of that video or at the beginning of that video, I'm going to put the explanations for, there were a few that people sent me because there was a few throughout this iceberg that I couldn't find info on, or I couldn't figure out what the mystery was, and you guys always come through and email me with where I can find it and stuff. So I'm going to do those in the very last tier. And if anybody can find information on this, I will go over it in the next video. WKCR hijacking incident is next. This was another like broadcast hijacking incident. This one allegedly for WKCR 89.9 FM. This hijacking supposedly happened in either 1994 or 1995. This radio station is based in New York. The station was interrupted by weird screeching noises. I will turn down the volume as to not hurt your ears, but here's the beginning of it. And then a woman reciting obituaries, including Oppenheimer's, as well as some obituaries of like bombing victims.
November 1988, John Burns, son of John Sr. and Marilyn, brother Kathy and Chris, step-of-friend of Lisa and Billy. December 21st, 1988, Barry Valentino, son of Barry Sr. and Jean, brother Scott, Mark and Lisa, Ann's friend.
It's very bizarre, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because I was researching this when it was like 11 o'clock at night the other night, but I kept looking behind me when I was listening to this. This legit creeped me out. I can't explain it. I don't know if it's just the picture that goes along with it in the YouTube video that shows it or something, but just FYI, this one's creepy. For some reason, this one really got me, especially imagining in 1989 or 1994, sitting there listening to the radio and that comes on. WTF. Urkhammer, Iowa is next. Urkhammer, Iowa was said to be a real town that was once in Iowa, but supposedly the town just vanished in 1928. Like all the people in the town just left all of a sudden and it became a ghost town and then eventually disappeared altogether. While this one is technically unsolved, it really is just an urban legend. The author of a website called Strange State originally talked about the town in 2015, not because he believed in it, but because his mother received an email from someone who claimed to have visited and been to that town before and described it in pretty close detail. But I think it's safe to say that, I mean, other than the fact that we have no evidence that this was ever actually a town, I think it's safe to say that this is just an urban legend because parts of the description of this town also just straight up sound like a creepypasta. Spongebob Brazilian defecation broadcast. This one's so silly. During the Brazilian Olympics in 2016, the channel in Brazil that was going to air the Olympics was supposedly interrupted by a SpongeBob SquarePants episode. The legend has it that a part of the episode had a pitch in it, a sound that is so unbearable to humans that to a lot of people it makes them poop themselves, like diarrhea. Some people, like, even, again, rumor, this is highly likely not true, but that people went to the hospital because of this. There's no proof that this was ever a real thing. Wang also made a video talking about this one, and the earliest mention that he could find this ever talked about was on 4chan. So it's very likely that whoever wrote this on 4chan was trolling and just made this up out of thin air and it became a rumor. Human Pet 1 is next, and not gonna lie, by the title of this one, I got very scared. However, this one was also fictional. This one was an ARG that ran from 2006 to 2008 on YouTube. It was never thought to be a real story, as all the descriptions often said this is a fictional series directed by so-and-so. So this was never even trying to scare people into thinking that it was a real thing, which is probably good because it does surround the kidnapping of someone. And so obviously I think that they had to put the disclaimer on there so that law enforcement didn't get involved. The ARG is about a man named Sam kidnapping and holding hostage a guy named Eric. This was one of the early ARGs of the internet, and it was also really cool because it was very interactive. So what was interesting about this one is that the audience, instead of solving like puzzles or binary code like a lot of ARGs go down that route, this was one where the audience got to help the Sam, the person holding Eric hostage, help him choose what happens to Eric. So very like weird game show type stuff that we hear on the about the dark web and stuff, even though there's no proof that those exist, but this was obviously just a game. So we got to decide, the audience at the time got to decide what he ate, which I believe was cat kibble for a long time. There's a big bag of Friskies in a lot of the videos. And then they also got to decide like how his water got filtered, because the captor would bring in like a big tub of pond water and he would be like, I can't drink this. And then Santa came into the shot, gave him the gift of bleach. So from the instructions, Eric figures out that he needs to filter the water using his shirt. So he does that. He filters the water into the bag to get rid of a bunch of the stuff. And then he puts a little bit of bleach in the water to kill any germs or whatever. Then there was even a sister channel as part of the whole lore of supposedly Eric's family, the one that was being held captive, and his family and his dad and stuff coming forward, trying to get people to help with the investigation. You know, my son's missing and we need help. We need to spread awareness. We can't find him, stuff like that. I don't know why this ARG stopped or why they stopped posting. It did have under 5,000 subscribers in today, so it probably had a maybe 1,000 or 2,000 more back in the day, but maybe they just stopped posting because it didn't take off. Either way, I found this one really interesting and I had never heard of this one before, so this was an enjoyable find. The other thing I really liked about this concept was that it was a man holding another man hostage instead of just the old cliche story of a creepy man being obsessed with this woman and holding her hostage somewhere. Like, I really liked the twist on like that cliche story, because those stories, when they're told by men, are often very misogynistic, usually unintentionally, but like when movies try to make violence against women stories to raise awareness, often when it's like male directors and stuff like that, they really miss the mark. So I thought it was a really interesting concept that they made the victim another male. I thought that was really interesting. Okay, 9A13D514 is next. This is another ARG. I'm not going to go too far into this one because, yeah, there's not much on it. This one was based on a Japanese video game called, I believe it's pronounced Toho Project. That was the video game. Somebody made an ARG based off of it. The unused character in the game named Rin Suzuki was the main subject of the ARG. The project seemed to have one season in 2018 and then another one in 2020. I think this one was just a classic ARG type puzzle thing with quite the cult following, though. I think there was a niche group of people that were very interested in this. Russian Homunculus. Oh my god. If you hated this entire video, this one topic will make it worth it for you. This was a video that went viral, and it was a Russian YouTuber, a man speaking in Russian, but there was English captions, and it was literally video tutorials on this man claiming to make a homunculus. The first homunculus video from this channel has over 23 million views. If you don't know what a homunculus is, specifically in alchemy, a homunculus is a tiny human-formed being. So, like, supposedly you can mix some stuff together and make a tiny, tiny human-like creature. Now, in the video, he sits down dead serious. You can't see his face, but just his hands and stuff, but dead serious. He says, I'm going to show you how to make a homunculus, claiming that this is 1000% real. He gets what looks like a chicken egg, and then he has like a syringe needle thing that he says is full of human sperm. I really hope that's not actually what it was, but that's what it looks like. So he proceeds to put a hole in the top of the egg. He injects the egg, he says you got to really get right at the yolk with the sperm. It's so funny. I'm so sorry because people believed this and tried to do it at home. And then he covered up the hole literally with just like bandage tape, like just, you know, like one of those rolls of tape that are used to cover up wounds and stuff, puts it in a container. And then he says that you had to put it in a hat or something warm to keep it warm. And then he put it in a dark closet that has to be undisturbed. Nobody can go in it, you know? And so sure enough, he says it has to incubate for 10 days. So 10 days later, he goes and he gets the container out. And he comes to show us what the results were. Obviously, the egg is a little bit rotted. You can see some like gray black stuff in there, but he gets it out and he cracks it open. And sure enough, there's this tiny weird looking creature inside of the egg that comes out. The creature thing even moves a tiny bit. He went on to make 21 different homunculus videos. In the homunculus number 2 video, that one is also very, very famous for the book crushing part because he pulls out another homunculus thing on his second run of this test. And again, this thing is moving a little bit and the thing spits at him or spits something at him and he panics. I'm not going to show you the full clip because it's gross and you can go find it on your own. Because yeah, if you want to see it, you can, but just like a warning, it's really gross and it's bloody.
Bitch!
And he slams a book on it out of panic as it spit on him to kill it. It's so weird. When he takes the book off, there's literally like blood and organs and stuff. It is so weird. The creator stopped posting in 2017 and somebody claiming to be his daughter would tell people in the comments that he had passed away, but also people that I believe were confirmed to know him in real life also confirmed that he did pass away, which was really, really sad. But it turns out after people were able to ID this man, he was an actor and the videos, of course, if you haven't figured it out by now, are fake. Not only is it a biological impossibility for this to work, especially with a chicken egg, it also turned out that this man was a theater actor, so he was doing this for entertainment. Now, the biggest question, though, that I'm sure many of you are asking, and I sure did too, was how did he do this? How did he create these tiny little moving creatures that looked all weird, like deformed, tiny homunculus human things for the sake of these videos? How the heck did he do this? I couldn't find a lot on it, but I did find a little bit. And he made a video explaining that a lot of it was made with clay and plaster materials and such, and it was very likely that what he did was put a magnet inside the quote-unquote creature, and then also had a magnet under the table, so that when he moved his hand holding the creature, when he moved it closer to the tables, he probably had both magnets, the north poles or the south poles, facing each other, so that the creature would look like it was moving, because it would like curl into itself. So we don't know all of it, because there are more different weird things that he made, but I think he was just a very crafty person, and I think my guess is that he also got some like fertilized chicken eggs. I know that's morbid, but I bet he had like some fertilized chicken eggs that were like partially formed and stuff like that. And then also just a lot of stuff from the craft store and everything like that. But yeah, it was so weird. How many people do you think tried to make these before they realized that it was not only impossible, but that this was a hoax? I think this one is definitely my favorite out of this video, out of these two tiers. That one is just, oh man, I just love early YouTube. Meat stations is next. My understanding of this one is not super clear, but I'm pretty sure it's just referring to the conspiracy theory about meat. So there's kind of two different conspiracy theories about meat stations. One of them is just that there's an underground market for unregulated meat, whether that be exotic meat or meat that says it's one thing, but it's really another thing, or the government is secretly killing alien beings and making them into meat to hide the fact that there's proof of aliens. Aliens always come into every conspiracy theory ever, let's just be real. Or people saying that it's to population control on species of animals that get overpopulated, and so they secretly kill them and mix them into the meat. So there's that part of the conspiracy. And then there's another conspiracy surrounding meat of people that believe that there's an underground cannibalism market, that there's people that are being trafficked and literally turned into and sold as meat. Now, as a meat eater myself, am I saying that our meat industry is not super, super messed up and often unethical and could use many, many improvements? Of course it could. Our meat industry is terrible in a lot of places. I know, hot dogs are gross. Will I still eat them? Yes. But are they gross? Yes. But the meat industry could be terrible all on its own. I don't think it needs a conspiracy. I think that it could use a lot of improvements, and it could still be super messed up just by the regular livestock that we typically consume. I don't think it needs all these conspiracies to be much worse than it already is. You know what I mean? Yeah. So no, I don't personally believe these. Hong Kong 97 Game Over screen is next. Hong Kong 97 was a video game. It was released on Nintendo, but it wasn't a physical game. Like, it was just kind of released on Nintendo, like through, I think people kind of hacked into Nintendo and released it. Nintendo, it wasn't an official Nintendo game. They didn't approve its release, and so it was never a physical copy. It was just a computer copy. When you lost the game, people noticed that the game over screen on this game was a real dead body, a real person who seemed to have died a very terrible death. And it turns out that it was. Internet sleuths figured out that this photo they used on the end screen was a victim of the Bosnian War. Very odd. I don't know if it was a commentary on like how violent video games are, or if it was just somebody trolling or what, but yeah, that's kind of all we know. Okay, and last is Tubgirl. Oh, Tubgirl. Can we ever go through an iceberg without talking about Tubgirl? Probably not. This one is also pretty gross. If you know, you know, but if you don't, just FYI, like go cautiously if you want to hear what this is. Obviously, I can't show the picture, but I will be describing what's in it. So just FYI, it's gross. Don't eat right now. This one's just a shock photo, not a video, but it's just a shock photo of a woman who is in a bathtub. She's laying on her back, and her legs are up in the air so far that her feet are like around her ears, which if you're in that position, that means that your genitalia are on display, if that makes sense. But it gets so much worse because there's some sort of orange liquid flowing out of her anus in a fountain-like shape and onto her face and in her mouth in this photo. I'm not sure exactly why this is an internet mystery. I can only imagine it's because we don't know who this woman is, and we don't know who the photographer is and why he decided to make something like this in the first place. Some have claimed to actually interview Tubgirl over the years, and there was a Medium article about it. I couldn't read it though because it was behind a paywall, but they got an exclusive interview with her. Again, supposedly, I couldn't confirm that it was really her, but I'm pretty sure it was. Medium seems like a pretty reliable source, and they apparently interviewed her, and she had come forward and talked about her experience on the project and how it was an art project. But nevertheless, I don't think we know exactly who the photographer was behind this. And it would be interesting just to know like why people do this in the first place. Like who goes, I have an idea. I need to find somebody who's willing to do some stuff. You know what I mean? Okay, that was tier 6 and 7. I also want to let you guys know that I'm making merch. I made merch already. It's coming out. I need to get it first because I want some in my hands to show you guys in real life. But I've been working with a designer, an artist who's actually a personal friend of mine, and he did an absolutely amazing job. Everybody who's seen it, the design so far, has been obsessed with it and said that they really, really want it and think it's so cool. And we worked together on it for many, many weeks. And he put oh my God, and it's so amazing. I'm so proud of it. I can't wait to share it with you guys. So I just want to let you know that that is coming sometime this month so that you can order it in time for Halloween, because it is a great fall/October Halloweeny shirt / design. Oh man, you guys, I'm so excited. So official announcements with the actual merch drop where you can buy it and the actual design and everything I will show you here very shortly. So, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to show you guys. And I'm telling you as a heads up because I figure people that would actually be interested in this announcement are people that probably stayed till the end of this video. So I wanted to share that all with you, that it is coming. Yeah, get ready for that if that's something you're interested in. Also, don't forget to download Love and Pies. The link will be right below this video in the description for your free gift. And with that, I want to thank all the patrons on the screen. Big shout out and huge thank you also to our newest top tier patrons, which are Rosetta Stoned 86 and Allie. The rest of the patrons are on the screen right now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.